Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Brighton Ncube. This is Know Your Right, a show that seeks to look at the map and constitution, focusing on the Bill of Rights as well as the map and constitution. It seeks to educate people about the constitution of Zimbabwe. So on the show today, I'm joined by Marygold Sibanda from Vundla Phulu Partners. Talk more about the right to privacy as enshrined in the constitution of Zimbabwe. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let's just go into the right to privacy. Let's talk about the right to privacy as enshrined under the Constitution of Zimbabwe. What does it entail?
Um, okay, if you go to the constitution, it says everyone has got a right to privacy, and then it actually has got a list that you have a right not to have any entry into your home or your premises without your permission. You have a right not to have your person or your property searched without your permission. You have a right not to have your property or possessions to be seized, and the privacy of your communication must be protected. And also you have the right not to have your health condition disclosed without your consent.
Right. So in an
So
event,
what it entails is for any matter that is private to you, you must first be consulted by any party who wishes to disclose it to any other third person or to the public.
right. So now in an event that maybe I'm a patient, right, and then my privacy is breached. Doctor now tells people about my sickness or my condition. What happens now? What are the steps someone can take if my right to privacy is breached?
Oh, okay. If you look, you give an example about a patient doctor privacy. You know, I would like to believe that they also have regulations similar to ours, because in terms of our code of conduct, it is an act of gross professional misconduct for me as your lawyer to give out information that I obtained to you, maybe during a matter that I'm doing on your behalf, to any other person without your written consent. So I would like to believe that it's not. It actually also goes back to our professional ethics. I believe that in terms of the regulations and bylaws, most professionals are not allowed to disclose any information that they get from their clients. So I don't know with doctors, but it's for us. You can write a letter to the Law Society and raise your complaint, and yeah, and then
But however,
the
yeah.
Law Society will look into the matter.
But
Yeah.
now let's look at the issue of social media now. In the past few weeks, we have seen abantu maybe what to call it revenge porn, what someone to release leaks pictures of someone explicit on social media. Now, when those things are done to umuntu, let's look at it in the context of right to privacy. What are the
Yes.
crimes that we can say to umuntu olecala lokwenza lokhana because they have leaked these explicit pictures or they have leaked information in private of umuntu on social media? What are in terms of right to privacy? What can you say about that?
Okay. Okay. If you look at, I'm going to look at it in this way, in the African perspective or African legal system perspective. I'll use there is a recent case that was dealt with by the the Constitutional Court of South Africa, whereby they discussed this issue, and they had now to define firstly what an infringement of your right to privacy consisted of. And they say that any person who discloses any matter that would distress you or cause you mental stress or injury, you know, if it's disclosed, that is an infringement of your right to privacy. And then you also have countries like United States, Australia, New Zealand, outside Africa, which have criminalized like such kind of conduct. However, in our jurisdiction, we don't have any specific provisions that criminalize, distribution of such kind of material. But I would go back again to the Concord decision in South Africa. They said, whenever there is a will by the owner of that material to keep it private, the moment you disclose it, you have infringed on their right to privacy. Even if you look on the issue of nude pictures, you find that most of the times it's between two people who are in an intimate relationship. The context is A will send the picture, which is meant for only B's attention. And now party B starts to distribute it. It means he has infringed A's right to privacy, because that picture was only meant for him. And it was the intention of A that those pictures be kept private. So as long as a party has not posted their nude pictures on public domain, I believe they should be kept private, because it's just like just like an example. Even a general conversation in your family group, how would you feel if you find that your cousin, sister, who's in another group, whether professional or whatever, messages, maybe commenting on your grammar and all that? So because what the court said in this in the case that was before, it was we use the objective test. What would an ordinary man have done in those circumstances? If there is wife and husband, the wife sends her nude pictures to her husband, or generally as an ordinary man, do you perceive those pictures were meant for public consumption? Definitely not. If I want to post my nude pictures, I would go and post them on Facebook or even on Instagram. But you find that even on Instagram, we have privacy settings whereby what I post is only meant for people on my list only. So the moment you take something that is meant for a particular individual or for a particular group of people and move it outside that domain, you have, without my consent, you have already infringed on my right to privacy.
Right. Speaking of the right to consent now, we have seen also corporates, maybe during election time, corporates, they get maybe our information. For example, I will use maybe service provider X will give a certain political party or a certain maybe corporate to maybe my details, where I live, my age, and so on and so forth. What is your take on that in terms of right to privacy, whereby my identity documents or my information is leaked to the third party by corporate, a big company? Also take on that in terms of right to privacy.
Okay. I believe there are certain requirements which are required from every institution. When you go to your bank, they have their KYC. They have to know their clients, and especially now with the Anti-Money Laundering Act and everything that is going on around the world, with every bank, they have to update your details every now and then. With every service provider, you need to update your details every now and then. But I would like to believe that when I enter into an agreement with Telkom Brighton, right? And in that agreement or whatever, I am not told that you are going to be selling my data to a third party, and come after 5 years, you sell it. You are infringing my right to privacy, because I have given you my information as my service provider, but I have not given you the consent to now forward it to a third party. However, just like any other right, there is it can be limited, because you find that there are regulatory bodies which will require my information. For example, maybe in line with the banking system, I believe the RBZ would want to know if maybe they start saying, you know, there's huge amounts being deposited into my account suddenly. So I'm sure there are certain limitations, but all limitations now have to be done in terms of the constitution, because right, our rights, the right to privacy actually is a constitutional right, meaning for it to be limited, it must be limited in terms of the very same constitution where it is provided for. So if you go to section 86 of the constitution, it says it says when you're limiting a constitutional right, it must be limited in terms of a law of general application. You understand? And that law of general application must be based on the principles that promote a democratic society, openness, equality, and human dignity. So if, let's say, Telkom Brighton now wants to provide portals, or like, portals is regulates most of our network providers. I would like to believe that once and again they would audit and they would require certain information from them. That is okay, because it is in terms of a law of general application. But now if I hear that your company has given you know, another third party who's not even a regulatory. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is what happened in some years here in Zimbabwe. I believe it was Econet, which was actually being accused of selling data to a third party, and they denied it. And if you look at their defense, they actually said the only information that they have given out is relevant information. There's certain information that they are required to give out to portals and not to any other third party, because portals regulates the processes in every network provider's company. Yeah.
Right now, Mary, if as a citizen of Zimbabwe, if my right to privacy is breached, we have seen some places whereby people are saying no intrusion, corner. But if however someone comes to a place, what steps should I take now? Someone has intruded my privacy, someone has come into my privacy without my consent. What steps should I take now as a citizen of Zimbabwe?
You can, I believe you can institute proceedings against that individual, but however can I please just say this? If you're saying someone has invaded your privacy, as I already pointed out, your right to privacy can be limited in terms of the constitution. So now we have to look at who has invaded your privacy, who has invaded your premises. Because if we go back to the right as it is provided for in the constitution, it says you have a right not to have your premises entered into without your permission. However, if you go to the Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act, police officers can actually come into your premises. But however, if you look at the act, which now will be our law of general application, it actually says any police officer who comes onto your premises must seek your permission first. And they may not enter your premises without your consent. Yes. However, the act also goes on to say the police officer has to announce himself audibly. He has to say, hi, I am Officer Ndlovu from which police station. I am here for this reason. Can you please gain me access to your premises? And the act also provides that if he is faced with any resistance, he must use force reasonable necessary in those circumstances. So now, what we're looking at is there are certain circumstances whereby people can invade your privacy legally and lawfully. And let's just say it's just me. I don't have any authority to come into your house, and I just come into your house and start going through your documents and everything. You can actually institute proceedings against me.
you keep on referring to the limitation of rights, and also I've heard about this, the rights that can be limited. Please, can you break it down to our viewers at home? What do we mean by saying rights can be limited? Because the constitution says I have these rights, but now there's thing of limitations of rights. Let's break it down. What does it mean to say my rights can be limited?
Okay. Okay. It's because there's a misconception that constitutional rights are absolute, which is why I keep on emphasizing that, because I would like to believe we want our viewers to understand that when someone comes onto their places, and especially I would like to give an example of police officers. If they come to their premises with a search warrant, they can search their premises. Even without a search warrant, there are circumstances which are provided for in the CPEA, which is our Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act, whereby an officer can come onto your premises without a search warrant and search your premises. However, even if you look at the CPA, it says when a search is being done, it must be done in an orderly and fair manner. So meaning we go back to section 86, which says there must be a law of general application in the promotion of a democratic society, looking at openness, equality, human dignity, and all these other concepts that are the founding principles of our constitution. So I would like to give an example. You'll find that you have a neighborhood that has been facing robberies and or people getting killed in that neighborhood. The police have got a right to search certain houses where they believe some stolen properties are being hidden. You know, if you look at it, when you look at this constitutional rights, there needs to be a balance. When you are protecting your rights, you should not be a nuisance to your neighbor. You should not be a nuisance to me. Because there are people who will say, I have a right to privacy, but even if you have a right to privacy, your right to privacy should not be a nuisance to me.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying. And yeah. We also need to look at the interest of justice in certain matters. If there is a police investigation that has led them to a particular individual, they can go and search him. They can go and seize articles and properties and all that. However, it has to be in terms of the law, which is, I believe, which is what people need to be knowledgeable about. You need to know how and when your rights can be limited. Yeah.
I love the fact that you're bringing the another aspect of it. Rights, balancing rights. Rights have to be balanced. Someone has to balance their rights. But now, as you wrap up our show, Mary, what's in your heart in terms of the constitution of Zimbabwe? I know that different chapters and sections, but what's in your heart in terms of the constitution of Zimbabwe?
Okay. When the Constitution of 2018 was enacted, I believe, just like most legal practitioners, most human rights activists, I was very happy, and because it was progressive, subtracting some of these amendments which have come up over time. Yeah, we were moving in the right direction. As far as constitutional law and whatever, I have just realized that we have taken too long to align our laws to our laws, which I actually I don't even understand whether it's a lack of resources or it's actually, or maybe it's actually people who do not even have the intention to actually align the laws with the constitution, because yeah, it's long overdue. It's long overdue, and I'm actually yeah, I'm actually also a bit disturbed about the numerous constitutional amendments which we have now seen in the past recent years, which are now actually regressive in manner rather than progressive, because we moved 10 steps ahead and now we're moving 30 steps backwards.
You have been watching Know Your Right, a show that seeks to look at the Zimbabwean constitution as well as the Bill of Rights. Today I was in conversation with Marygold Sibanda from Vundla Phulu Partners right here in Bulawayo. So our conversation was based on the right to privacy. I hope you enjoyed the show. And please do follow us on Twitter at SizeW. Do follow me on Twitter at the Real Perfect. Until next time, enjoy the show.